So, Brian Alvey, CEO of CrowdFusion, here to tell you about how we use RightScale. And that is my only slide. So, exactly. This is usually the point where everybody applauds. So, CrowdFusion, best way to describe it, it is a publishing platform for big brands, big publishers. We combine the best features of everything that you want in a modern web content management system, which would be, blogs, wikis, feed readers, social things like sharing and commenting, and collaborative databases. And we package that all up into a platform, and we put that into the hands of big media companies. So the number one benefit that they get from us is usually we walk in and we kind of bring them up to 2011, right? Now they can actually compete against all these startups, all these people using all these great platforms that are out there. They now have all the same tools and features. The second thing that they realize, or that they use us for, is to really future-proof them. So, we're working with big media companies like News Corp, Best Buy, Time Warner, and like I said, we bring them all up to speed. And then when they join us, they become part of this service, part of this sort of network of customers. And this platform protects them against, can they speak to Facebook and Twitter today? Yes. Can they speak to whatever's coming next? We'll take them there. We'll help them do that. So CrowdFusion is a software solution. Our original model was how to build great sites around topics, right? All sites that you visit are structured around topics, right? You go to ESPN, you expect you're going to see things about teams and players and games. You go to cars.com, you're going to see stuff about cars, right? There's a promise of what topics people are going to talk about, so we built things around that. You want to build the ultimate car site, ultimate movie site, ultimate sports site, that's what we do. And the key is actually having a great structured data management engine, and that's CrowdFusion. So when we dreamed up this model about 4 years ago for how to conquer verticals, how to build the ultimate site around a given topic, we had a long list of features. All right, there was original news like blogging. There was aggregated and curated, other people's news. Right, we're going to pull that in. There were, the sort of structured data thing, comments on every content node, revision history on every content node. Right. The two things that were not in our list of all the features we were going to pack into CrowdFusion back then were mobile and the cloud. And so, if it was, we probably would have named CloudFusion, but somebody else got that one later on. So guess what the two biggest things are that publishers love us for today? Mobile and the cloud, right? The things that we didn't actually plan on doing. So good thing we're agile and all that. So for the mobile side, we have a multi-platform approach, sort of a publish everywhere thing where we can take your content to new platforms very easily, whether it's mobile, whether it's tablets and smartphones and things like that. And then on the other side, we bring the cloud, which is what I'll tell you about today. So originally, since we weren't talking about the cloud when we built CrowdFusion, it was an on-premises kind of thing. It was either going to be something that we host for customers or something that we install into their data centers, right? And as we were talking to some of the early customers, we got really, really, really lucky in that our first customer was TMZ. So has anybody here not heard of TMZ, right? Everybody's heard of them, right? You all know Michael Jackson died and Tiger Woods is unfaithful and Charlie Sheen's insane, right? Good. So we've accomplished our goal. So when we started working with them, they came to us and they said, hey, we have these crazy traffic patterns, right? Broadcasting live from Charlie Sheen's backyard, breaking the news of some celebrity death. They can get 75 or 1 million page views that day in a span of hours, right? Nobody dies, nobody cheats, tens of millions of page views. So it's all up and down. So we were actually really lucky to work with them and have this sort of spiky traffic because we said, well, sounds like a good job for the cloud. So we went cloud shopping in 2009, and cloud shopping in 2009 sucked, all right? It's way better today, all right? Back then, you'd have a bunch of companies up on stage, and here's what they would tell you. They would say, yeah, next summer, we're going to put a dev server in the cloud and see how it goes. And you're like, I have to put Warner Brothers' biggest, most important, famous brand in the cloud. Like, I'm trying to see, will that work or will it not work? I wasn't getting a lot of validation from people. But the good news is, we did it. We used RightScale. It all went really well. So there are a couple phases to falling in love with the cloud. All right. The first one is price. Everybody looks at it and goes, hey, 3 cents an hour, 8 cents an hour. This is amazing. Who here has ever spent more than $20,000 or $30,000 on cloud servers in a month, right? There's a couple people here. Who here has spent more than $5,000 a month on cloud server hosting, right? Those pennies add up, right? So price is cute, but after a while you realize price is not your number one benefit. The next benefit, of course, is scale, right? I can scale up. I have a crazy thing going on. I can spin up 50 servers. I have a social game that takes off. I can do some amazing stuff. In the last, so tomorrow is actually 14 months of hosting TMZ in Amazon's cloud using RightScale. And in that time with them and a bunch of other big customers, we've spun up, I believe, 6,000 servers. And our record for one day was 43 additional web servers for TMZ when they were broadcasting live from Charlie Sheen's backyard. So very important day. And so not only, like they mentioned, the scale up, but scale down is a big deal, right? If you don't power down all those servers, you're not saving all that money. And then the third thing that people realize after they're into the price and the scale is the speed to market. You can just rock things out quickly. When we launched TMZ, we had 3 or 4 months to get that done, to get them moved onto our platform. It can take that long to set up a data center, to buy servers, to burn them in, to get storage, to hire people, to manage that storage. Pretty horrible. Same thing with News Corp. We launched the Daily for them, this tablet-only next-generation sort of newsroom and tablet news app. And they had 4 months to get this thing done. And they also kind of benefited from the scale because they had an Apple product launch. They had a Super Bowl commercial for their app. It was pretty crazy. So you would think an app doesn't need scale, but apps actually do need scale. And Zynga proves that too. So a couple sort of last points here. The cloud, obviously, everybody knows is all about embracing failure, right? Stuff breaks, you have to deal with it. So the first thing we did is kind of bake resiliency into our app. If you don't do that, you can't live in the cloud. We did that, we baked it in. And then one example of that, and one example of how we use RightScale to do that, is in our content management system. You can go in, you can post new stories, you can add new photos, you can manage your comments, you can manage your team and their permissions and all these things. But if you have permissions, you can also go to another tab and you can fire up new servers. And this is a beautiful thing because there are 4 instances where new servers get launched. I won't go into all of them. Obviously, if you're running 10 and 2 fall over, 2 new get launched, right? That's one example. The other one, which is really cool, is some of our customers know when they are breaking news that nobody else has. So instead of waiting for the traffic to come in and have the servers vote and catch up with that sort of onslaught, they fire up a couple new machines. They're doing this all in our CMS. They're doing this all from our web interface, and we're doing that all through RightScale, obviously. So DevOps was mentioned before. We are very much in that vein. You know, everything to us is code. Code is the core of what we do. Hardware and servers are just a means to an end, you know, so they're an extension of our application via RightScale. We're more of a platform as a service, so we use infrastructure as a service. We're using that, and other people are using us as a platform. And people like it when you come to them and you say, they've already sold off, they're buying your CMS, they think you're the most amazing thing ever, you're going to build a newsroom for them, make their lives fantastic, and they go, wait a minute, you do hosting too? Again, I don't have to do a data center and storage and that whole thing about all that. They like that a lot. And then another cool benefit is we kind of became the cloud gurus for all these big companies because we took their big brands and stuck them in the cloud first, so they come to us when they have questions. So a couple more points here about choosing RightScale. So obviously you guys can tell speed to market. Biggest reason we picked them. We couldn't have done what we did in the short amount of time for these customers without somebody giving us a kickstart, helping us become experts at the cloud, help us cheat and get there faster. Our benefit to a lot of these large customers is that they're not nimble anymore. They're large customers, right? We're nimble, and RightScale helps us be nimble. One other unintended benefit is there's no visibility into cloud outages and things that happen at Amazon and all that, and RightScale kind of gives us a layer of people that we can talk to and some visibility into what's going on when something's bad. Very quickly, last couple points. Why I personally like RightScale is probably different than a lot of other people who use it like it. I'm actually a fan of the company. We are sort of installed per customer moving towards software and platform as a service, right? And RightScale's already there. So we're watching them as a business to see how do they communicate during bad times, right? How do they do their pricing, the usage-based pricing and the classes of pricing. And they're really good at adapting and listening too, so when they would do upgrades to their APIs and things, they kind of wouldn't tell us and it would just happen and our plugins would stop working with their stuff. So now they're really good. We said, you can't do that to us. And they said, okay, what do you need to know? So now we kind of get a report as they're going to change things on what's changing so we can work with them on that. So they're fantastic for that. And then the very last point, because I know I'm over, but you know, I got one more point to make, is I think there's something that a lot of people think about, and it was confirmed last night. I asked some people this at RightScale and outside of RightScale, that I think is maybe a little bold to talk about at the conference, which is at a RightScale conference, which is getting rid of RightScale. All right. So this is a more common thing than I thought, and I think that when you have this smart, amazing development team and you start using RightScale, they get you up to speed, and I think there's this sort of perception that at some point we're just going to rewrite all the RightScale scripts, kind of do it ourselves and take that in-house. There are a bunch of reasons why we aren't doing that. The number one thing is it's not a great use of our developer resources and our developer budget. We would much rather rock out the daily on a new platform or bring on a new customer than rewrite all the RightScale stuff. Number two, it's not our core competency. Like I said, we're DevOps, we're developers. Software servers are kind of a means to an end to deliver our content. And we know that these guys it's their core competency. They're just going to keep doing this. And number three is there's always this sort of expectation that we're going to go multi-cloud. And if we pulled all the RightScale stuff in-house, we only know one cloud, and then we'd have to learn a second cloud and a third cloud. So we figured these guys are going to do that for us. And the last point is I saw a cool presentation a few months ago from a guy, Mike Montero, from Mule Design in San Francisco, and he was up on stage with a bunch of designers, and he had his personal lawyer on stage, and he was explaining how to go from being a design amateur to a design professional. And his premise was getting a lawyer and good contracts takes you from kind of an amateur to a professional. And he made a really cool point during the talk, which was, he said there are 2 checks that I write every month that I'm very happy to put in an envelope and send that money away. One is to my lawyer that's on stage here, and the other is to my therapist, right? And I thought that's a hilarious point, right? And it's kind of, but at the same time, it's actually really profound. And so that was in March. So since then, we pay a lot of freaking vendors. We have freelancers, we have services we use, we have all these things we subscribe to. And I've been using that as like a litmus test. Am I happy to write this check every month, right? For a therapist and a lawyer. And we have a lot of lawyers we work with, actually. And I have a very good therapist. One good therapist, probably 2 or 3 good lawyers, accountants, you name it, right? Tons of developers, but a great therapist, Jess. And I'm happy to say that RightScale passes the test, and I'm happy to write that check every month. So thanks, everybody.